I have also updates regarding the steps we are taking to minimize the environment and the environmental risk to this incident. Specifically, BP has just briefed me on a new location of an additional breach in the riser of the deep underwater well. While BP believes, and we believed, and established a 1,000 barrel per day estimate of what is leaking from the well, NOAA experts believe the output can be as much as 5,000 barrels. At this time, we will be evaluating what this means to our current plans and activities. The Secretary of Homeland Security has briefed the President just a little while ago about this new information. The President urged, out of an abundance of caution and mindful of the new information, that BP must position resources to continue to aggressively confront this incident. That being said, BP has always anticipated and planned for a much larger spill. We have urged BP to leverage additional assets to help lead the response to an oil spill incident for which they are responsible. It has become clear, after several unsuccessful attempts to identify the cause of the leak, that it is time for BP to supplement their current mobilization. We've also asked that BP begin consulting with the Department of Defense to explore ways to use technologies that may surpass the capabilities of the commercial sector. U.S. Coast Guard and the affected states are asking that BP seek the boom necessary to support the response efforts. In addition, our coordinated response has brought many federal partners together from day one, including the Department of Defense, the Department of Interior, and the Environmental Protection Agency. These partners, along with working with the coastal states, are overseeing BP's deployment of a combination of tactics above water, below water, dozens of miles offshore, as well as closer to the coastal areas. Today, BP successfully completed a controlled burn designed to remove large quantities of oil from open water in an effort to protect shoreline and marine and other wildlife. BP continues the use of chemical dispersants as another tool in the spill response toolkit. BP has also engaged in a variety of other response activities, such as on-water skimming and subsurface wellhead operations. Preparations are underway in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida to set up a protective boom to minimize shoreline impact. Approximately 1,100 total personnel are currently deployed, and 250,000 gallons of oily water have been collected so far, using nearly 50 vessels and multiple aircraft engaged in this response. These efforts are happening concurrently with the efforts of BP, the responsible party, to stop the crude leaking from their well. As you know, Secretary Napolitano and Secretary Salazar yesterday announced the next steps in an investigation that is underway to determine the cause of the explosion and the sinking of the Modu. I'd like to welcome Doug to speak. Thanks.
Thank you, Admiral. As the Admiral's already stated, we wanted to provide you an update as things develop. I think since the Transocean Deepwater Horizon incident began, we've consistently provided frequent updates and have provided updates if things have changed. We reported previously that we had 2 locations of oil leaking. If I could put a bit of history here, last Tuesday, a week ago Tuesday, at about 10 p.m. at night, the Transocean Deepwater Horizon rig caught fire, had an explosion, and ultimately a day and a half later sank. After sinking, we used remote operated vehicles to examine the wellhead area. At that point, we reported that we did not see any oil leaking because at that time we did not observe any oil leaking around the wellhead area. Over the next 36 hours, we were successful in tracing out the riser, the piece of pipework which connected the well to the drilling rig on the surface 5,000 feet away, and located 2 locations where oil was leaking. Since that time, we've been working to stop the flow of oil and recover the oil and protect the shoreline. Late this afternoon, while monitoring the blowout preventer area, which we've done continuously since the event began, we discovered a new point of leak. This leak is just beyond the top of the blowout preventer in the pipework called the riser. Given the location, we do not believe this changes the amount currently estimated to be released. We will continue to monitor the system closely, and we are examining how these new changes affect our plans and activities. At tomorrow's press conference, I will provide you with an update to our plans. But while here, I would like to provide you an update on today's activity. We successfully applied 42,000 gallons of dispersant. This almost doubles yesterday's total, which had doubled the day before. We collected over 12,000 barrels of oily water, which represents a four-fold increase in the day before, and we deployed over 80,000 feet of boom. In addition, as the Admiral's already mentioned, we successfully completed our first in-situ test burn. We will continue to provide you frequent updates as things develop. Thank you.
If you can answer real quick, Mr. Suttles, you're saying that there is another breach, that you find that there isn't a location of leaking. So if that is the case, then how can you say that this does not affect how much oil is actually leaking if there is another opening?
No, it's a very good question, and I fully understand it. If you look at the diagram to my left, and I apologize that it's rather crude, but we're providing this information almost as soon as we get it. If you look at that diagram, the BOP is shown, the black piece of pipework called the riser is shown, and you can see the two locations on the right-hand side. Those were the two leak locations discovered originally. The new location is upstream of that. It's before that. So that's the reason we don't believe the total flow is different now. Of course, I would have to state all along this is highly imprecise. There's no way to actually measure the flow. We're doing this by some basic calculations, some judgment, and actually continual observation of the leak points.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that there's a lot of pressure that is underground right now. Is there a possibility that there could be another breach that will change the situation?
Well, of course it's possible, and these are one of the things we've been working so hard to find ways to stop the flow of oil, because ultimately that's the best thing to do. And I think we've reported continuously that we're pursuing multiple paths because we don't know which of those paths will be successful. And we'll continue to do so until such time as we stop the flow of oil.